So my name's Lisa, and welcome everyone. And today's webinar topic is the importance of proofreading. So I'm just going to give it another minute or two because there's still some students arriving, so we'll just wait 1 or 2 more minutes and then we'll get started. So I hope everybody's having a good day so far today. And I hope it's nice where everybody lives. Angela, so far so good and sun is shining. Well, that's great. Sun shining here, well, then it goes under a cloud and then it comes back out. Rain here, but I have to study, so that's fine. Okay, let's start just momentarily. Let's see. Okay, we can get started. Okay, like I said, today's topic is the importance of proofreading. Okay, and let's see, we'll go to the next slide. Oh, it'd be helpful if I clicked on it. Okay, it is very important to verify word or words. An incorrect word could seriously jeopardize a patient's safety. Okay, and that's why we're always saying, read it and proofread, 2 or 3 times before submitting, because it certainly can jeopardize a patient's safety, just by putting in a wrong word or, because it can totally change the meaning of a sentence. Proofreading and editing are different skills, yet go hand in hand in creating medical documents. We will correct spelling, grammar, and punctuation, and also ensure the text matches the content of the document. And that's another thing about proofreading. You're not just looking for spelling errors or anything. You also should be looking for, does that medical word fit that content of, and does the, I don't know, the punctuation go, but definitely for sure you want to make sure you have the correct medical word. So developing basic proofreading and editing skills for revision of written text is necessary to create accurate written documentation. So one type of error at a time. If you focus on one type of error at a time, such as spelling or punctuation, you will find it easier to maintain accuracy. Each type of error has a different visual and mental process. In time, you will be able to combine these skills and perform them as you are transcribing, all at the same time. Just kind of read that wrong. Is the report formatted correctly? Placement of headings, text size, and paragraphs need to be checked and consistency maintained in the appearance of the document. And then read every word out loud. A lot of times that helps. When you read out loud, you will find that you recognize how the words sound together. When we read silently, we tend to read too quickly, and it is very easy to skip or miss errors or make unnecessary corrections. Does the content make sense? Do the facts match the complaint? Be sure to document a discrepancy in the interpretation of the content or anything else that may cause confusion. So below, I created some exercises below, okay, because I like doing hands-on kind of webinars instead of you listening to me droning on about, certain things or subjects or whatever. So what I did is I created, like I said, a few proofreading exercises. So what I'll do is I'll show it on the screen, and if everybody wants to take out a pen and paper or whatever, if you want to participate, I put 5 errors in each paragraph, okay? And I'll give you all a few minutes, so please don't start, putting in the chat box answers. Like, let everybody have a chance to participate. So I'll give you, 3 or 4 minutes before we go over the slide and we look at the errors and that sort of thing, okay? So the first paragraph is this. Earlier today, the patient underwent a lumbar lumpectomy with discectomy, and she is currently voicing discomfort and pain at the surgical site. So everybody try and pick out the 5 errors that has occurred in that paragraph. But don't type them in. Just keep it to yourself for now. Because like I said, I like to see everybody have a chance. So what you could type in, once you're done, just type in done. So that way there, when I see the biggest majority is done, then we'll discuss the errors. I'll just wait for a couple more people to finish. Okay, I think pretty well everybody finished. So before I show the correct answer, oh, Sandra's all over it. You can start typing in. Yeah, I think most people caught most of it. Okay, so earlier today, there shouldn't be a comma after earlier today, because that's answers the question when. So any phrase that's under 5 words, so which it is, and answers the question when, or how often, what, and that sort of thing, that you shouldn't have a comma there. Okay, so that's the first one. Lumbar is spelled incorrectly. It should be L-U-M-B-A-R, not E-R. And discectomy, that is wrong, because when you're talking about the back, which it is here, you use a K, not a C. You use a C when they're talking about the disc in your eye, okay? For anybody that wasn't sure why that was wrong. And again, there should have been a comma after that, right? After discectomy, because it's an independent clause after the conjunction and. So that's your other one. And then site. That's the wrong site, the spelling. Site, that is in eyesight, for example. Okay, does anybody have any questions on that paragraph? Did everybody do well on it? Oh, that's great. That's great. So does anybody unclear about any of the errors that they see? Okay. Alrighty. So now you get a feel of what's going on here. So the next paragraph is this one. And like I said, I'll give you about 5 minutes so you can take your time to look at it and try to spot the errors. So once you're finished, just type done. And like I said, when I see the biggest majority has finished, then we'll go over it. Just give everybody a couple more minutes. So take your time. Just a couple on this one might be a little tricky. Okay, let's see if everybody's ready. Okay. Okay, so the first error is patience. It should be apostrophe S, as in it should be a possessive form, because when you drop the apostrophe here, they're talking about several patients, not just that particular patient. Okay, so that's your first error. And here, you noticed, now if a patient has a blood pressure of 108 over 0.6 instead of 60, well, chances are you're not going to be taking the blood pressure. That patient would be dead. Okay. And the next one is, as you can see, there isn't a comma separating the temperature and the pulse right here. Okay. And respirations was spelt incorrectly. And then your next one is here. You don't put a colon between S1 and S2. You'd actually put a comma between S1 and S2, because those are two totally different items or things, whatever you want to say. It's two totally different sounds that they listen for. So you would separate that with a comma. Does anybody have any questions on that? Let's see here. Victoria, in regards to the diastolic number, can you just change that in a report, or do you need to flag it also? What you can do is I would flag it out in the real world. I would just flag it and make a note saying, I'm sure the dictator probably meant to say 60 or something like that, so that way there, you covered yourself, and they can't come back to you and say, well, but yeah, it is pretty, see, it depends on the company you work for too. Like some would say, well, yeah, but then you can't assume that it's that he said 6 either, because maybe he might have said 66. So you would be better off to flag it. But if you've seen something like that typed, you would know that it would be 60. But in the real world, if you come across, if you heard something like that, then yeah, you would definitely flag that. Donna, a comma after on exam answers what? There isn't a comma after on exam. Oh, you're asking me? I thought you meant there was a comma. Oh, he's going to shut down on me. Okay. That's right. That's right, Donna. So you wouldn't put a comma after on exam, because it answers when as well, because on exam. So that would say when. Well, when he was on exam or she was on examination. That's when they found whatever, or that's when all these vital signs occurred and at these numbers and that sort of thing. So, Joanne, it also depends on what the dictator said. The software might have picked up only the 6, but the dictator said 60. Yeah, that's right, Joanne. That's right. So in the work world, if you came across that, then you would be better off just to flag it instead of just going ahead and changing it to that, for just in case, that, like I said, 66 might have been dictated or whatever. All right. So is everybody okay on this? Move to the next one, or? Okay. Okay. Okay, this is the next paragraph. Yes, Sandra. In the real world, yes. Because that's the only way you'd be able to edit a voice rec report. Because as you'll find out when you get out there, voice recognition reports most of them aren't even close to what's being said, so yeah. Everybody's getting a little quicker. Okay, looks like most people, I think, are done. Okay, we'll check it out. Okay, so the first, people are starting to put in the answers. Anyway, R is the first error. It should be is in singular, okay? And that's right, social is misspelt. And the next one is held, between held and they. See, there isn't a period. I forgot, they didn't proofread very well. If they did, they'd see no period. The next one is scratched, misspelt. And there, that's the wrong kind of there. This THEIR is ownership, okay? Where there, you would use that if you said something like, over there is where we keep the books, or, you know, something like that. Cindy R should be it. Yeah, that's right. Everybody get it right there? Did you catch all of them? Actually, I should have been trickier and just said pick out the errors in the paragraph instead of 5 errors, because now you know to look for 5. Missed the period. Yeah, so see, it's easy to do that. That's why a lot of times when you're proofreading or doing a 3 or 4 pass method, you're really better off, like say 1 pass, just type everything you can hear, and anything you want to check the spelling or something like that, I put it in parentheses so you don't forget to go back to it. And then the second pass, maybe that might be a pass that you just use to do all your research for spelling, or maybe you want to check a drug name to see whether you should capitalize it or not, so brand versus generic, or check the dosage, or, you know, whatever, or I don't know, whatever you want to check. Then maybe the next pass you could just concentrate on setting your report up according to your account specifics, and then of course whatever rules you don't find in the account specifics, then the book of style rules. And then your final report pass, that should be, or I suggest would be, to proofread carefully and check out the punctuation as well. So if you break it down like that, less chances that you're going to miss something, because you know there is a lot to think about and a lot to take in. So if your mind is going in, you know, 5 different directions at the same time, it's very easy to miss something. But if you break it down and just concentrate on one thing at a time, then chances are you're going to catch a lot of stuff, you know. Sandra says, I started doing that a few chapters ago. Doing specific passes, and wow, makes such a difference, as I used to try and get all at once. Specific passes is the way to go. Oh, for sure. I know I've said that a number of times to a number of students. Joanne, that is what I do. Type out what I hear, leave underlined blanks, proof, and check out spelling. Last one is to make sure I haven't missed any words, and etc. Yeah. Angela, I changed chinchilla to the plural chinchillas, and they then changed the rest of the sentence to match. No, see, that's, no. You would just simply change the verb for that, because you have to remember too, you're going verbatim. So if she or he, the dictator, says chinchilla, then you cannot change it to chinchillas. You know, because you're allowed to do the verb and subject-verb agreement, but not, you know, you still have to follow the verbatim rule. So you definitely would just change the verb there. Okay. Yeah, no. Corey, so when we do subject-verb agreement, is it always the verb that we change? Yes, you never change the subject. You always type that verbatim. If they pluralize it, then fine. If they don't, then don't. You're welcome. Okay, on to the next one. Or does anybody have any more questions on that? No? Okay. Okay, so the next one is this one here. I'd sing to you while you were doing these exercises, but I think I would scare you all away and I'd be sitting here by myself. So we'll just put up with the silence. Should have had that theme song there from that they play in that game show there with Alex Trebek. Yeah, Jeopardy, yeah. So everybody can type done whenever you're finished, and again, when I see the biggest majority, then we'll go on. Okay. Yeah, okay, we should be, I think, good to go. Okay. Okay, so the first one is preparation. Right here was misspelled. And the next one is right here between sigmoid and there. See right here? That should be a period, not a comma, because you would have a comma splice by putting a comma. Okay, because those are two complete sentences. Okay, so the next one, openings, and here they typed an instead of and. And here should be bowel, not bowl. Bowl, something you eat out of. You can use a semicolon between sigmoid. No, no, the period would be a better way to go on that. Because, you know, you're talking complete sentences on that. So everybody caught that. Or did anybody not catch this one? The bowl versus bowl? Oh, Cindy's phone. I figured I would catch a few on that because grading reports, there's so many people, so many students that put that instead of vowel, because I always chuckle when I read that. Joanne missed the period in the dosage. Would have picked it up in the second pass though. See, there you go, Joanne. That's why you should always do more than one pass. And that's right. 75 milligram. Oh, I should have had on there micrograms. Should have been 75 micrograms. Yes, Cindy, sometimes we do, I have to say. But, and plus, we were all there too, you know, at one time or another. Okay, we'll get on to the next one. And this is the next one. Yeah, it can be crazy, Cindy. Oh, Angela, it should have been MCG. I typed MG again, but it should have been MCG. You're welcome. So see how you can see how important proofreading is? And I'll tell you, when you get out there in the work world, it is like super important, okay? Because to hold a job or to even advance in a job, if you're not proofreading properly and there's so many things getting by you, you know, you're going to have a hard time holding on to a job. And the thing is too, they love when somebody catches errors like that. They absolutely love that because usually there'll be a team lead, you know, for every account that you're working on or that that company has. And they just love it when they have an MT that they know that they're just on the ball because they're always checking dosage amounts and stuff. So never assume. Just because the doctor says an amount, don't ever assume that they're correct. And same with the spelling. I mean, God love them. They try sometimes to help you out and they'll spell a medical word or a drug name, but always check because most times or a lot of times they're wrong. Okay? So don't take their word for it. Put it that way, because a lot of times they're thinking about 2 or 3 patients while they're trying to dictate and all this stuff. So, you know, never assume. Yeah, that's right, Victoria. A lot of times the doctors dictate the wrong punctuation too. That's right. So you kind of just ignore them a lot of times, or at least check what they're saying. That's right, Angel. It's our job. That's right. Okay, it looks like most people, I think, are done with this one. So let's check and see. Of course, diagnosis is wrong because when you have more than one, you have to change it to SES, not SIS. So remember that, students. SES is plural, SIS singular, okay? And of course, gastrointestinal was spelt wrong. And let's see here. Anybody catch that? A period missing after the number 3? Oh, I guess I'm not proofreading my errors that I made. I was supposed to actually have this as, or not this one, sorry. What's with bleeding? I think originally I had it this way, and it should be bleeding. So sorry about that, everybody. So did anybody pick up on my error and on the error that I was supposed to do? So anyway, yeah, the 3 and ulcerations is wrong. You know, they put alterations instead of ulcerations. Okay, so we'll go to the next one. This is the next one. Yeah, it was, Corey, yeah. Was bleeding, but when I put it on that next slide, I put the correct one in the where the wrong one should have been. So now is a really good time to get in the habit of proofreading carefully. Definitely want to do that before you submit your report. Angela, should there have been a hyphen in anti-inflammatory? It can go either way, Angela. Both ways are acceptable for that, for anti-inflammatory. It even has it in the book of style, actually. Okay, I'll just give it a couple more minutes. Okay, I think most people are done, looks like. Okay. So the first one is condition. As you can see, that's spelt wrong. Okay. And then the next one, that's why I forgot to change it in the other one. I changed it in this one too. So of course you all know it's bleeding. I'm sure all you's got that. Oh, do I miss condition? Okay. And hasn't. Now if you're, not only does it say in account specifics, but also in the book of style it's in there as well. You always expand contractions. The only time you use a contraction is in a direct quote. Okay, so everybody remember that. Use Only use contractions in a direct quote. Other than that, expand them. Let's see here. Sandra, I've seen nausea / vomiting in a key this way. Is that wrong or acceptable? It depends, Sandra. If they say nausea and vomiting, then you would spell the word and. If they say nausea, vomiting, then yes, you can put a virgule, because a virgule can stand for the word and. So, or you can put a comma. So whichever for that there. And had, as you can see, that was spelt wrong. See, now if this person, being me of course, had proofread that properly, I would have noticed that. But see how easy you can just fly through something, and if you don't go back and proofread, you can't assume that you didn't make any mistakes while you're typing, because we all do it, you know. So that's why it's so important to proofread. I answered that one. She's doing well. Should we delete the second time it is dictated? No, 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 because where it's up here and down there, if there's, you know, a bit of information between the two, then you would still type it. But if it was pretty close together, like say right here, then yeah, I would just get rid of it. And actually, you probably could get off with getting rid of a redundant sentence like that. I mean, I would. If I was typing it, yeah, I would. But I'm glad you caught that, Angela. Very good. Anybody else catch that? Yes, Corey, sometimes the virgule will stand for the word and. Actually, most times the virgule stands for the word and. Like in combination drugs, for example, it stands for the word and. Sandra, that is when it was used when no words separate the two words. Yeah. Yeah, you could, Sandra, use a virgule there as well for nausea, vomiting. Thought it stood for per. It can stand for per as well, Corey. Like when you're doing, you know, the 120 over, and it can even stand for over, because when you do blood pressure, they'll say 120 over 80, you know, but you always put the virgule. What are you saying, Joanne? I thought we had to be. I'm not sure. It is verbatim, Joanne. So basically what goes on is if they say nausea, vomiting, then you can put a comma. Actually, I would more put a comma than a virgule, but you can put a virgule there because a lot of times most of the time they'll say nausea and vomiting. But if they say the word and, you put an and in there because you type verbatim, okay? I mean, if I was grading and somebody either put a comma or a virgule, I would accept both, because putting a virgule there just stands for the word and. It isn't changing the meaning or anything like that, and you know, the meaning's still the same. So whenever you delete change what a speaker dictates in a verbatim environment, is it just safer to flag any changes you make? You only would flag, or you would only make changes anyway to subject-verb agreement. Other than that, you would flag something that you think isn't correct or what have you. Because when you read in your account specifics, it says, you know, that's the only kind of changes that you can make. The proper way to flag, no, you don't use those asterisks, Angela. It's 5 underscores. And if you want to make a guess, you would still put the 5 underscores, and then right beside the 5 underscores, in parentheses, not brackets, parentheses, you would put in whatever you thought it sounded like or what was dictated. Okay? All right, we'll move on to the next one. You're welcome. Okay, there's the next one, everybody. That's right, Sandra. Oh. So are the account specifics we have pretty common in the work environment, or are they more detailed? They're all different wherever you go. And I mean, you can work, like every hospital or doctor, whether it's a private doctor or whatever, they all have their own account specifics that they want you to follow. They'll tell you what font to use, the size of the font. They'll say how they would like their headings to appear, and their allergens, and you know, all that sort of thing. So you would follow whatever account specifics that they give you, and then after that, then you could just use your book of style rules if, you know, if you're not sure, or ask the team lead or whatever. So that's usually how it works in the work world. Because sometimes too, you could go to work for a company and they may put you on 2 different accounts. Say they have an account for St. Vincent's Hospital and another one for St. Michael's Hospital, and they put you on both accounts. Well, they would give you account specifics for both, for each hospital, and you have to make sure you keep them straight, you know. I mean, because sometimes they're pretty close and sometimes some things are the same, but some may, like a colon, for example, after a heading, and some may not. Some for headings may just want the first letter capitalized instead of the whole word, you know, so there can definitely be differences. So, but you just do like you do here, or should do here anyway, is print them out and, you know, go over them every chance you get. And when you do a report, before you submit it, I would dedicate 1 pass just by setting it up according to the account specifics, you know, that sort of thing. Okay, I think pretty well everybody's done. Okay, let's see. So again, that contraction should be expanded to she will. Only use contractions in a direct quote, okay? And follow up follow up as a noun isn't correct. It should be follow up the verb. And just to give you a little tip, usually when the word will or to come before the word follow up, then it will always be a verb, the verb form of follow up. Okay? What's that? Should follow up. Oh, you have the things written down. I thought you had a question, Joy. So just remember that. Usually, or every time it follows or precedes the word follow up, the word to or will, it'll always be the verb form of follow up. Now, not saying that that's the only time, but that is the most common. Okay? There's Sunshine. Hi, Sunshine. Love that name. Just makes me smile. Sunshine. Okay, and so the next one, is am. See if you're proofreading that I am going. So I am going. And PO for the lowercase. Okay, for the lowercase abbreviations, Latin abbreviations, always put periods after the letters. Always, always, always. And that's in your book style as well. And QD, never type QD, even if dictated, because that's a dangerous abbreviation. So whenever they say QD, always type the word daily. And that's in chapter 9. It's also in your account specifics in chapter 9.3.1 and 9.3.2. Okay. Is nortriptyline not for the treatment of depression? You would have to look at it in, look it up in drugs.com or Quick Look Drug Book, because some medications have multiple things that they're used for. Like, for example, which is it? There's quite a few medications out there that you can use it both for psoriasis and for arthritis. You know, two totally different things, but there it is. So always check. If you're not sure of a medication, check and see what it's used for. Well, first I check, Corey, and see what it's used for. Then if it doesn't seem to fit, then I would definitely flag it, yes. Okay. So does anybody have any questions on that? Nope. Okay. So remember, okay, always proofread your report carefully before submitting it. Patient safety depends on it. So this concludes. Oh, good. I hope that you know, you all walk away with something, because I always try to do up the webinars, you know, so not only are you learning something, but you're doing things as well. You're interacting as well. What's that say? Webinar went so fast, I loved it. I learned about proofreading more. That's great. So this is what I leave you with, everyone. You're welcome, Sandra. Oh, you're all very welcome. And I hope you all have a great day and a great week. and I would imagine I'll be talking to you again sometime, and I'll be doing another webinar sometime down the road. All right. Just a second here. Things are going by pretty quick. Oh, you're welcome, Helen. All right. Goodbye, everyone.